Well, Ulysses, the Rays added some pitching depth, and to do that, they had to go a long way to find it in another country, continent, no less.
They did indeed. They signed Naoyuki Uwasawa to a minor league deal. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on social media, X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime. Love the mailbag questions, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, Ulysses, as you mentioned in the open there, the Rays signed, I'm just going to say Yuki. I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. Yuki Uwasawa to a minor league deal on Thursday of last week, which includes an invitation to spring training. And an interesting wrinkle in that contract is if and when he's added to the major league roster, the deal will pay up to $3.5 million. And it's funny because over the last several weeks and months, we've been saying, well, the Rays need to add a veteran starter, go out and find the next Corey Kluber, go out and find the next Rich Hill, go out and find the next Michael Wacha, whatever it may be. But I like this scenario and this wrinkle and this idea as well. Change it up a little bit, go to Japan, give a guy who has had a lot of success there for years and years and years and see if he can crack it with the big league club. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think this is the year 2024 for the Rays to try out some different things, see what sticks, see what doesn't stick, and roll with it. So I'm excited to see what Uwasawa can eventually provide for the big league club.
This is way more interesting of a signing for me personally than a Rich Hill, a Michael Wacha 2.0, a Corey Kluber.
Then retread veteran dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
then James Paxton.
Yeah, and this is way more exciting. And when you look at what he has done in the NPB, he's been a workhorse, man. In the last 3 seasons, he's gone 160 innings each and every time. Just if you look at his whole body of work, he's working with a 3.19 ERA in almost 1,200 innings in 9 seasons in Japanese baseball. He's always been with one team, the Fighters. And I he's got like 6 pitches. There's a splitter, there's a 2-seam, there's a curveball, a cutter, a 4-seam fastball. So he's got a ton of toys to play with. It kind of reminded me remember when was it Darvish or Matsusaka? I think both of them, when they came over, they had like 6 pitches, and people were like, holy crap, these guys.
That must be a Japanese thing where you're so refined and well developed as a pitcher. It's not necessarily about power stuff of, oh, this guy has to go out there and throw 97, 98. It's about the repertoire. It's about having a dastardly splitter, curveball, pitches to work off, a fastball that averages 91 miles per hour, because I've seen some criticism about Uwasawa over that. But
yeah,
and it's not like there's multiple ways to skin a cat here. You don't have to be Hunter Green. You don't have to be Jordan Hicks. You don't have to be Duran to be successful in the big leagues. We've seen many guys with, fastballs that don't fit today's norm that go out and do amazing things.
The knock is definitely, hey, if you're working with a 91, 92 mile an hour fastball, you're just going to get rocked. Well, apparently Uwasawa's big character trait as a pitcher is the command and control of all of his pitches. So can you do that? If you're a surgeon with that, I believe you can still be successful in the league. Now, you might not win any Cy Youngs, but again, everything has to be dealt with in context. What do the Rays want from Uwasawa? Why are they going and getting him into a deal? When you look at this rotation, and we've talked about it plenty, but let's talk about it more. It's probably the thinnest we've, as a Rays fandom, in a long time. Not only at the top, but then depth-wise as well.
Yeah.
So Uwasawa can slot in as much needed depth because breaking news, people, a pitcher will get hurt. I know. You're like, how do you know this, Ulises? I can guarantee you a pitcher will get hurt in the rotation, and it's going to suck, and that's going to be awful, but it's going to happen. Okay? When that happens, you need depth. Who's your number 6? Who's your number 7? Who's your number 8? If Uwasawa can be that and slide into the rotation, I think it's fantastic. I've seen a lot of meandering on X, whether like he could be a bulk reliever or he could just be a guy in the bullpen. I don't think you stick a guy in the bullpen when he has shown to be incredibly durable. And that's exactly what the Rays need is innings. I don't think you slot him in as a Colin McHugh type or a Wade Davis type unless there is no need for him in the rotation. And again, like I just said, it's very difficult to think that the rotation is not going to need help at all in 162 games. So although it would be a cool feature to see Uwasawa as a Colin McHugh type, 2 innings here, 2 innings there, and maybe a bulk reliever, I firmly believe that if there's a injury, he will slot into the rotation. And if there isn't an injury, Kevin, and he does well in the rotation, I wouldn't think it would be crazy that they go, hey, Tosh, let's season you up in AAA a little bit, and let's give Uwasawa the number 5 spot. I would not be at all surprised if that happens.
Yeah, because I would think that, well, the contract with Uwasawa, my understanding is it's a 1-year deal. Correct. So, and we'd see what happens after this year, of course, but I would think that they want to do everything to protect and, I don't want to say coddle, but make sure that Shane Baz, Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio are in a position and in a headspace to be successful years and years down the road. While Uwasawa, not that you don't care about him, but it's like, we'll throw him out to the fire if it has to come to that, to protect our other younger assets, prospects, priorities.
That can give us a lot of innings, a lot of good moments for the next 3, 4, 5 years, unless traded. But that's the idea with those young guys, right? And at a press conference in Japan last year, he quoted to people saying, teams need pitchers that can eat up innings in MLB. I can contribute by going many innings without getting an injury. Hello.
That's good. Yeah. Look at his track record and what he's done. We have more to discuss on this for sure, but first we have to tell you a couple important things. For one, the NFL season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel. They are America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get 150 buckaroos in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there are many different ways to bet. You've got live same game parlays. You've got bets that you can find in the Explore tab. You've got something called the Parlay Hub and much more. So go ahead and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, they are an official partner of the NFL. We also have to tell you this: passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motor has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your #1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you are looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money will be returned to you. Because with eBay Motors, You're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Should note, only available to U.S. customers. All right, Ulises, continuing on the Uwasawa discussion, just some background here. This past season with the Ham Fighters, he maintained a 2.96 ERA across 170 innings. Now, we have noted this, or it ties into the fastball that's not necessarily up to par in terms of velocity with the major league standards, only 124 strikeouts. Now, all that said, what are your expectations for Uwasawa with the Rays in 2024? Is it 150 innings in a 4.5 ERA and 105 strikeouts? What are you kind of ballparking here with this guy? Because just looking historically, and it's no secret, the NPB is consistently called the Quad A. It's a step above AAA, but a step below the majors. And you see guys, pitchers in particular, that go from that league to the majors. You can basically, on average, bump up their ERA from, 1.25 to 1.5 based on what they did with the NPB. So I was just kind of throwing out a figure of, hey, Uwasawa, you take his ERA in Japan, translate it to major leagues, slap another, 1.25, 1.5 on top of that thing.
Yeah, I feel like that assessment has been true for a long, long time. I think we're going to start seeing that discrepancy shorten and shorten, and
Okay.
there's just been, I think Ohtani is such a revolution, and he's such an outlier, but he does bring eyes to where he's from. And so maybe before, scouts were like, Quad A, like we don't really need to look over there. Now there's teams like the Rays saying, let's go get this guy. Like we can see this. And now with so much technology and so much, the spin rate and the drive line help that actually Uwasawa went to drive line last year, and he did see improvements. Actually, 2023 was his career year, like you mentioned, a 2.96 ERA. So with all of these added benefits, added toolkit, you can really get to know a pitcher's repertoire and what they can provide more easily than before. And you can see if the stuff is going to translate much easier than before. So I'm not too worried about it. If we do the over under, sure, I'll play because I love that. I think ERA wise, I would go under 4.2, but I wouldn't be surprised for a 4.2. And again, context matters, people. So 4.2, you might not be too happy about a 4.2, but if it's for your 5 starter,
he signed to a 1 year, $3.5 million deal. This isn't a Senga contract or a Yamamoto contract or something of that ilk.
Exactly. So 4.2, I would sign for that. Which again, if we play the bump up rule, if he has been a 3.19 ERA type pitcher, 4.2 in the States, I think that very much plays for a number 5 starter. And when you talk about innings, like you said, if he is known to be durable, not only because he has shown it with his work, but also what he has told reporters that he thinks he can provide an MLB team, then I think it would be silly not to use that kit and to not use that skill of his. I said it in the first. I wouldn't be surprised if Taj Bradley gets, remember, Taj was pushed to the MLB roster because of need, not because they thought he was ready. It was because of need. So can you just give him a little bit more seasoning before he really gets started? If there's an injury, again, I think Uwasawa is going to be slotting in the top, in the rotation. Like I'm not going to be surprised at all. In fact, I'll say this: I'm going to be more surprised if Uwasawa is not in the rotation than if he were in the bullpen. If he's going to be in the bullpen, I'm going to be very surprised because you're not using him at his most effectiveness, which is, again, he can provide
eating innings.
innings.
Yeah, it's not about him pitching 1 inning and getting 3 strikeouts. It's about him
because he's not that pitcher.
The length of the game,
right? He's not that pitcher that he's going to be like, oh, fastball, deathly splitter. Although apparently the splitter plays and it's really, really nice. But yeah, innings. So so ERA 4.2, sign me up. And innings wise, I think you would be looking at 120. If he gives you 120 innings like Glasnow did last year, which is what, 22 starts. That's a pretty nice investment for 3.5 mil.
Yeah. And I think that in credit to the Rays for getting him to sign a minor league deal, contingent on getting that millions of dollars when he's added to the big league roster, because I think Uwasawa had other suitors that were willing to give him a major league deal straight up, and he's like, no, I have so much trust and faith and respect for what the Rays do with pitching staffs that no, I'll settle for a minor league deal with an invite and go from there. So that tells you something going forward for the Rays organization, that they have bought themselves a lot of goodwill with pitchers. Now, to your point,
I have a question for you. With that, which, by the way, that's so cool that the Rays have gotten that reputation. But question for you is, one of those teams that apparently did offer him a major league contract was, you love them, the LA Angels.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani's former employer. Now, do you think that says anything about how Japanese players are looking at what happened with Ohtani and him being stuck there for 6-7 years and not really winning anything? Did that factor into anything, do you think? Or is it just, look, the Rays are really good at pitching. They're a pitching factory. I like what they do with so many of the guys. This is what I want, even if it's a minor league deal. I trust in my stuff. I'm going to get a major league spot.
No, I think everything's a factor. I think it was what the Rays do and playing for a winning organization like them. And then I think that, from afar, people saw how, I don't want to say Ohtani was mismanaged, but his talent essentially went to waste, went to die in LA. And you don't want to see that happen if you're in Uwasawa. And you want to, if you're going to go to the majors or another league in another continent, you want to be put in a situation where you think you'll be able to have success. So, I think everything kind of ties in there. Now, to your point about him being a stable in the rotation versus bullpen, I think that's smart to do. I don't think you want to do anything that is out of the norm for what he's done for the last 8-10 years. I would think that you would want to make him as comfortable as possible, which kind of goes into some off the field aspects of maybe the Rays have learned a thing or two with how they dealt with and how they treated Yoshi Tsutsugo, and maybe they're more this second run through, that they're more prepared with, okay, here's what a player from Japan needs to feel comfortable and to get on the right path, besides the things of, the baseball being a different size and a different grip, and you have different strike zones and you have shorter seasons, and you have a different gameplay where in Japan it's making contact and bunting and getting on base, whereas the MLB, it's, hey, we're all about hitting home runs and trying to win games that way, which I don't know if this was by design, but the Rays going out and trading for Caballero and Palacios, I think, fits into what they want to be able to do with Uwasawa, because we know he's not going to strike out a bunch of guys, but he's going to induce some fly balls that need to be caught and a lot of ground balls to a lot of infielders, particularly middle infielders, that are going to be needed to be scooped up and thrown out to first or second or turn double plays, whatever it may be.
And although we did see a Zach Eflin who walks very little people and did see a solid amount of strikeouts, he's not like a strikeout pitcher either.
Right.
And so I feel like when you look at this rotation, Savale also did not have a high strikeout rate, if I remember correctly, with the Rays either. So you might be looking at how do we form the team behind these pitchers, and that's exactly it. If they're not going to be striking out a lot of people, then you might be worth investing in good gloves. And we talked about this last year, that the bullpen before the whole addition of Jake Diekman and Stevenson was dead last in strikeout rate. So maybe there's something to that. Yeah.
We have more to discuss on this, Ulises, but first we have to tell the audience something very important.
That is true, and that is just like the Rays have to be ready with ground balls and getting guys that can catch those ground balls. You have to be ready for what comes to you unexpectedly, and you can be ready with the Jace case. What is the Jace case? It is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinus infections, skin infections, among others. Okay, this stuff could happen to any of us. So today, visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. You heard that right, a fraction of the regular cost. So today, go to jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com and use offer code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, to get $20 off your order. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. So go to jacemedical.com and use offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order today.
With Uwasawa, do you think he'll be on the opening day roster 2024? Or are they going to let him settle in, marinate, get some action through spring training, get a start here, start there, a couple starts, maybe, half a month in AAA before he gets the call to the big league club? I guess all this contingent on the health of a Shane Baz and a Taj Bradley and the rest of the rotation as well.
So let's paint the scenario. So for those keeping track at home, the rotation being Eflin, Savale, Littell, Pepio, and Bradley. Let's say that's the 5.
Okay.
No injuries happen during spring training. Not how many runs he let in, not how many, because that spring training out the window. Stats do not matter.
He's working on his 6 pitches.
Right. And I know that there's some Rays fans that have given us crap in the past because we say spring training stats do not matter. But guess what? I'm going to say it again. Spring training stats do not matter.
They do not, no.
Do not matter at all. I know it gets people sometimes offended, but hey, guess what? Get offended. It doesn't. They don't matter. So I'm not talking about does he have a shiny Z or ERA? How does he look? Are the pitches being crisp? Do they like what his mound presence looks like? Does he have command of his pitches? How's the rapport with whoever?
How's the adjustment to the new ball? Is he getting intimidating by more robust power hitters in the States compared to Japan? The game,
the conversations,
the style of play. How's he adjusting to that? The speed of the game. There is so much that goes into everything.
The pitch clock, very good. Exactly. The conversations with Renee Pinto, Jackson, Logan Driscoll, and whoever else might be.
Rob Brantley. You didn't hear that signing? They added Rob Brantley to a minor league deal.
Mr. Rob Brantley, correct, a former
Legend.
Yankee. So how are those conversations happening with Naoyuki? So all of that boxed in together. If they like that, yeah, I don't see a scenario where him being in the opening day roster is this crazy plot twist at all. I think honestly, I know it says minor league deal, but maybe it was some bureaucratic thing that we're overlooking. Is it because the 40-man roster is full? Probably. And when spring training begins, you can offload McClanahan, Springs, Rasmussen, and Wander.
Yeah, you've got all the 60-day IL administrative tasks to take care of. So that's a good point of, hey, it's like, don't worry, you're going to be a part of the major league roster, but
it says minor league.
We have to make this a minor league signing. We have to we have to figure out a loophole, essentially.
Yeah, and this is our loophole. And you know what? Just because we understand that this might not be great for the ego, that it says minor instead of major, we're upping at 3.5 when maybe the Angels offered $3 million, whatever it was. So no, I am not at all going to be surprised if he's on the opening day roster. In fact, I'm leaning towards that he will be on the opening day roster.
Yeah. And again, I like the fact that his pitching style, and also not does he have to get adjusted to the rest of the league. The rest of the league has to get adjusted to him in his repertoire and his windup and the hesitation that he has with the leg kick. Like, there's so much, and how he works off of, because there's not another pitcher like him in the Rays organization or on the Rays roster. So how his style of play plays off Eflin's and Savali's and Littell's and Pepio's and Bradley's and Shane Baugh's. I think it all connects and ties them together. So
now
you should be very excited about this signing, and not as much risk as the pitcher versus position player, but the Yoshi Satsugo signing, where there was so much pomp and circumstance. There was a ticker tape parade, and then it wound up being an absolute dud for myriad reasons, where this is kind of more of an under the radar signing. And again, I don't think they're I think having another run through with a player from Japan, they kind of know maybe some of the missteps they had first time around.
100%. Like you learn that stuff, and the cultural awareness and what those players need in the clubhouse to feel confident and at home. Like that is primordial. It really is for them to feel comfortable and to be able to perform. Now you say how the league has to be adjusted to him. Like that's such a big thing to have three different looks when you go into a series with somebody. We say it all the time. If you're facing, I don't know, the Dodgers, the Yankees, whatever, and they have righty, lefty, righty, you're like, oh, lefty, righty, lefty. You're like, oh, this guy's a big strikeout guy. This is more of a command guy. Like, it changes the way of your lineup dynamic, especially if you're the Rays and you like to mess around with that. It also messes with the hitters' timing. If they're all just facing power hitters, that they can adjust to that. They're major league hitters; they can do that. But with Naoyuki Uwasawa's funky delivery and 6 pitches and that splitter, again, the splitter is not a very common pitch in MLB. No. It used to be, but it has died. Like everything, there's trends. The splitter is on the bottom end of the trend right now in the valley. I'm sure that it'll go up again. But if you look at splitters around the league, what is it? Cobb's comes to mind. This Gossman, I think, has a splitter as well.
And I wonder if that was because of the perceived or legitimate injury risk of upsetting the elbow or the forearm with, there might be something to that. Whereas, in Japan, if you're working with a different ball with a better grip, that you're maybe less prone to injury compared with the Rawlings thing in the bigs and the minors. There we go. Oh, you got it. How's it feel? Does it have a different grip than the other one?
It feels tackier. I have a Major League Baseball here too. This one is signed by Wilson Ramos over here. And
there we go.
Yeah, it's just tackier.
Here's a rule. Any Japanese pitchers should be allowed to use the NPB ball in the States.
Dude, like, it feels nicer. Like, this one's the MLB one is way slicker.
Yeah.
It's way slicker.
Japanese engineering, I mean, they make
Security
good
risk.
cars. They make good golf clubs, tires,
There you go.
everything.
Look, if you're a Rays fan, I think you should be really excited about this signing. I hope you are. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We love listening to you guys on the YouTube comments. As long as Evan Klosky says, as long as you're nice and respectful, we will do our best to reply to you.
It'd be so crazy if he wound up having a better season than Yamamoto and or Senga.
Oh man, don't make me
crazier
dream.
Things have happened.
Don't make me dream. Don't make me dream like that.
Last thing with having, when we say 6 pitches, I mean 6 usable pitches, not just he's got 2 pitches that he'll use 0.5% of the time, but that should be useful and have some utility third time through the order, where he can save some of those pitches in his back pocket, or he only uses a certain pitch couple times in the first couple innings. You've got some extra juice there that you can push back when you get to the 5th, 6th inning, whatever it may be. So
yeah,
just wanted to throw that out there. All right, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later on this week.